Hello everyone, it's David from Automotive Press. Guess what I have today? It is a Lexus IS 500. As many of you guys know, I actually owned a Lexus IS 500 in a different color for about 6 months or so, and I sold it to buy my Lexus GX 460 simply because my needs have changed. But do I miss the Lexus IS 500 because of the beautiful V8 engine that's in the vehicle and the way it drives? You bet I do. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I really miss my Lexus IS 500. Let's go. Welcome back. So do I really miss the Lexus IS 500, which I owned for a very short time? I definitely do, especially now that I have this as a press vehicle for a week. But I do admit that the GX 460 serves me better as a practical vehicle, because that's what I need for doing things like fishing and camping and so forth. Nevertheless, I really do love the IS 500, and I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I still miss the IS 500. The first one is pretty obvious, right? Because everyone loves the new 5-liter V8 engine that's in the IS 500. This is the heart and the soul of this vehicle, and without this engine, it just wouldn't be the same. In fact, that's the main reason why I bought the IS 500 in the first place. Now mine was an ultrasonic blue, so very different color from this infrared color, which is a red color. But regardless of the color differences, obviously the engine is the same. This is the beautiful V8 engine. Everything is built in the Tahara area of Japan, and it is built in some of the best factories there, so you know the quality is really there. But of course, the most important thing is that this is the same 5-liter V8, or at least a very similar one to what's already in the Lexus LC 500, which is kind of the ultimate sports car in the Lexus lineup. And when you step on the gas, well, this beautiful engine just literally makes the music. It's just a beautiful sound. It just takes off with a vengeance. And you know what? There's no other engine quite like it in this type of vehicle. All the other manufacturers in the world have downgraded their engines to 6-cylinder, in many cases turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, including the Mercedes C-Class. They no longer have V8 or V6, but now everything is turbocharged 4-cylinder. So to be able to actually buy a Lexus sedan with this big V8 engine, it's absolutely remarkable. In fact, I can't believe that they actually went ahead with it. So the first reason I really missed IS 500 is that while I have a V8 engine in my GX 460, it's never going to be the same as this high-performing, high-revving Lexus IS 500's 5-liter V8 engine. The second reason why I missed the IS 500 is the sound of the engine and exhaust. It is not super loud actually, but loud enough and beautiful enough that it is very memorable. I can't quite recall any other vehicle that makes this kind of a sound in this price range in this type of vehicle. The engine sound is almost undescribable. It's not the same as other V8 engine sound like what you hear in my Lexus GX 460. It's not even similar to other V8 engines, period. It just has that really nice mixture of a low ground sound and a little bit of a high-pitched sound when you step on the gas. And you know what? It is just undeniably very unique engine sound. Don't take my words for it. Let me show it to you. Did you hear that beautiful sound? It's not like any other V8s I've come across. It is unique to Lexus, unique to IS 500. It has a really good blend of sound that is just absolute music to my ears. By the way, if you're driving the vehicle and you want to hear the engine sound, you have a couple of options, because you don't hear too much inside the vehicle because it's really well insulated. But there is obviously a fake engine sound that comes through the speaker system. But you can turn that off, which is unique to IS 500 as well. So here's a little knob or dial you can see on the dash here. It's called ASC. It stands for Active Sound Control. And if you turn that off, there's absolutely no fake sound that comes through the speaker system, and everything you hear is the pure engine sound. And if you really want to hear that, you have to roll down the windows, but you have a choice. And that's one thing I really like about this whole engine sound thing with the IS 500. I don't have to listen to a fake sound. Now, having said all that, I do admit on this particular vehicle, the fake engine sound is actually really well done. So you can dial up a little bit if you want to hear the engine sound with the windows up because it mimics the real sound pretty closely. But for me, obviously I don't want that, so I always drove the IS500 with the ASC turned off, and I just maybe crack open the window so I can hear the engine sound. And that was one of the most interesting things about the IS500 that I truly miss. The third thing I miss about this vehicle, well, it's actually design, which is somewhat subjective, right? Because this vehicle has been around for a while and it's no longer all that fresh. But when I owned the IS500 and now that I have it for this week, I always walk away from the car after parking it and I look back and say, you know what? That is a great looking vehicle for a sports sedan. It is not a pure sports car, obviously, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But this gorgeous exterior is timeless, and in many ways, I think will age really well. Because Lexus designers have found a way to incorporate all this curvature that is a little bit unusual in a sports sedan. There's lots of curvature here, comes up over here as well, and it's got kind of muscular look to it, without looking too much like a sports car. So it's a very understated design, but I really like the edgy look in the back as well, and I don't even mind the front grille, which some of you guys I know don't like it too much. And so I think the styling of this vehicle is extremely attractive, and I miss looking at it. And part of that reason is because of such an amazing quality of the IS500. It is built in Tara factory in Japan, as I mentioned, which is one of the best factories. How do I know that? Well, let me just do my usual gap test here, and you'll see what I mean, because it's almost perfect in all aspects. It is only 3 millimeter here, 3.2 millimeter there, less than 2.9 millimeter there, 3.1 millimeter, and 3.2 millimeter. So more or less 3 millimeter all the way. Most cars are around 4 millimeters. Most Lexus are between 3 to 3.5, but this one is pretty well close to 3 millimeter all the way through from front to back. But more than that, if you look at the actual panel alignment and the way the panel was finished from a stamping shop and also the body shop, the whole thing looks like it came from a single sheet of steel. And that is very difficult to achieve because all the creases and the lines line up perfectly, and there's not a single distortion that I see, and that is only enhanced by the beautiful paint job. And this candy red, maybe it's not for me, I do prefer the blue color, but just look at the gloss and the finish and the lack of orange peel. It's an amazing job. You can buy a car for $400,000 or $500,000 and it will not be a better paint job than what you see in IS500. It is definitely world class in terms of body fit, alignment, and paint job. And even the paint thickness, I'll show you in a minute here, is thicker than most cars out there. So if I were to measure the thickness of paint, this is in microns, it is a bit thicker. It is 161 microns. Most cars are between 100 to 150. Most Toyota and Lexus models are around 110 to 120, so it is thicker than other Toyota models, even thicker than some other Lexus models. And by the way, this is aluminum here, you can feel it, but this also tells me that it is not steel. And this is 160, it's almost exactly the same as the hood. 150, 157, and if you do one more on the roof, 175. So once again, it's about maybe 10 to 15% thicker than other Toyota models, including some Lexus models, and therefore the paint just have that really deep texture and a deep finish that is lacking in so many cars. You just walk away from this vehicle and look at an angle and you can see all the reflection that this car provides, and it is just a beautiful paint job, beautiful work of art, and you're not going to find any car, even if you pay a lot more, that has a better quality than this one, both outside and inside. The fourth thing I missed about the Lexus IS500 is the overall refinement and the silky smoothness of this vehicle. Now that's contradicting a little bit from what I said earlier, because I love the sportiness of this vehicle, especially the engine, but at the same time I want a balance of sportiness and refinement. So when I was driving this vehicle, what do most passengers say? They say, wow, this thing is incredibly comfortable and smooth and even quiet for supposedly a sports sedan. And that is something that you really appreciate when you drive this car day to day, because as you run your errands or go to work and so forth, you don't really want a car that's too rough, as I found with the Toyota GR Supra that I own. that thing was a little bit too rough, obviously being a sports car, and therefore using as a daily driver was a little bit tricky. But this one is a good balance and a good mixture of performance and comfort and refinement. So I can drive it like a normal luxury sedan and enjoy the beautiful stereo music and a comfortable ride, a firm but comfortable ride, but at the same time step on the gas and really enjoy the engine sound and also enjoy the amazing V8 engine. So I think this is really perfect for those people who have outgrown a pure sports car, but they really still want the heart of a sports car or engine of a sports car. And this is the perfect solution for those people, including myself, because I want a feel of a sports car engine, but I don't want to have a car that is just too rough riding. So that's what I miss about the Lexus IS 500 in terms of the overall refinement and smoothness. So now I'm driving the Lexus IS 500 on the road, and every time I take it on the road, even if I'm not stepping on the gas, I think this is a really overall great vehicle. For the price, for what you get in terms of value, in terms of the engine performance, I don't think there's anything out there that come close to this. And from a value perspective, I think it's absolutely amazing. But the fifth reason why I miss having the IS 500 is the fact that this will probably become a collector's car in 5, 10 years, maybe 20 years down the road. And I'm going to miss the opportunity because I sold mine and I'm no longer the owner of what could be a future collectible. Now, at the time, I had to make a right decision because I really needed a big SUV. And even though I've owned many different models and so forth, I really felt that I needed to buy the GX 460. So I sacrificed the IS 500 to buy the GX 460, and it's still the right choice in terms of my daily need. But if I could have kept the IS 500, I'm sure in 10, 20, 30 years down the road, it will be maybe double in value, maybe even more. And if I keep it even longer, it could be a true collectible, because I am 100% sure that when Lexus introduces a new IS in a few years' time, that they wouldn't have a V8 engine anymore. That's going to be gone because Lexus and Toyota as a whole is moving toward the hybrids and full electrification. So there's no way they're going to keep the V8 engine. So that's my disappointment and regret, that if I kept the IS500, it'll be worth a lot more down the road. But also to be able to own a collectible car is something special and something memorable. And I'm going to miss that chance. But that's okay. I'm still very happy with my GX 460, and perhaps the GX 460 will become a GX 550 down the road. And who knows, maybe at some point, if I can get a used Lexus LC 500, that will be my ultimate purchase. So if I can make that work, maybe I wouldn't miss my IS 500 so much. So we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. But as I drive the IS 500 this week, yes, I do admit I miss it, and perhaps I regret selling it. But anyway, let me know what you think of the IS 500 and the fact that Lexus even has this model, because this is an absolute miracle that we have a car like this. And regardless of my regret, I'm happy and excited that I'm able to drive this vehicle for a week, because it's such a fun car to drive and it's such a beautiful vehicle to drive that I'm going to enjoy it for this coming week anyway. I hope you enjoyed my video, and if you haven't done so yet, would you kindly give me a thumbs up, make some comments including questions, and if you haven't done so yet, would you kindly subscribe to my channel as well. Until next video, I'm signing off for now. Thank you so much.